Welcome one and all to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, as we are each and every day brought to you by Water Cleanup of Florida. The term disaster strikes just scares me because, as I've talked about, anxiety is something that none of us really deal with well. If you've heard anything we've done over the last 12 years, I'm one that anxiety takes a hold of, whether it's sports, life, relationships. When something happens with the home, no one really loves it, but I get anxious, and my wife handles it like a champ. I sort of stress out a little bit and get a little nervous, but what's cool is with Water Cleanup of Florida, I don't really do that anymore because I know I can make one. I don't have to, because that's the thing is I don't like going to Google and reading the reviews and doing, because I don't know who the heck to trust. I don't know what the heck to do, but what's cool is Water Cleanup of Florida, you trust them. They, with their licensed contractors, can not only assess any water, mold, fire damage, they will come out and fix it. So you don't have to do all this research. You don't have to do all of that. With their over 60 years of combined experience between Michael, Robert, and their entire team, plus with 65 plus 5-star reviews on Google, you already know the quality that you're getting from Water Cleanup of Florida. What's also cool is they're available 24 hours a day. Not a lot of places are, or it's some answering machine, or no, you get a person that will help set up an appointment that you know this problem will get fixed. Not only looked at, it will get fixed as soon as possible. Just give them a call, 954-579-0356, or go to their website, wcufl.com, wcufl.com, or 954-579-0356. Just mention 5 Reasons or Lubie, and you get a free inspection during business hours. Also check them out, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Water Cleanup FL. Water Cleanup of Florida. We clean up your schmutz. What's interesting about today, yes, it is draft day. Yes, the Dolphins aren't really selecting anything today, for sure. They don't have a first or second round pick. But that's a good thing. As we've talked about this week, it means they're looking to win, and the draft is something they're just going to implement to add to their roster. But what's cool is we can talk about draft now and in the past and in the future, and we're going to do that today with the one and only NFL great and Miami Hurricane great, Ottis Anderson, a guy that was a top 10 pick out of Miami before Schnellenberger, before Jimmy Johnson, before Dennis Erickson, before Butch Davis, before Coker, before Cristobal. Ottis Anderson was a great for the Canes and was drafted after playing for Lou Saban in 1979, went to the Cardinals, then St. Louis, eventually went on to the Giants, and we know the story. Super Bowl champion twice over. Today we talk with Ottis Anderson. We'll talk about his draft experience, and of course we got to talk about his Canes days right here, the Defo Show with the Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network with Ottis Anderson.
The great Lawrence Taylor with us here at 940 Wins, 1230 The Zone. Your relationship with Parcells.
We've always been friends from the first time I met him in the University of North Carolina. And Bill was a great guy because he would get on the bus. We'd get on the bus on Sunday. You know, getting ready to play the game, we get on the bus and he'll go through his roll call. He looked down that row, he say, LT, you here? And I would say, yeah, Coach, I'm here. He would say, okay, bus driver, let's go. We got enough to win.
That's great. From South Florida to the entire world, here is Defo joined by Lubie on The Defo Show.
And welcome to another special edition of the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubitz with you. And I guess we can verify if that story had any element of truth to it as we welcome to the show one of the standouts of all time. And, big star here at the University of Miami, gained over 10,000 yards rushing during his career in the National Football League, started out with the St. Louis Cardinals, ended up with those New York Football Giants. Was that true? Parcells would say, hey, LT, you here? And then the bus would take off. Ottis Anderson with us here on the show.
Yes, you try to get on that bus with Lawrence because if Lawrence there, we good. That is so true.
That's so funny.
How wild was it being a part of a team, a championship team that had many different types on it, and then of course, a lot of people would feel that this guy was the greatest football player of all time, having LT as a teammate.
Well, when they say considered the greatest of all time, that's true. I mean, he's the only guy I know that changed the game itself. The definitely the way the left tackle blocked the outside linebacker. That's Mr. Taylor for you. But as a teammate, he was unbelievable. You love playing with him. He would give you the shirt off his back. The way he played the game motivated you to play the game with such enthusiasm that made you who you are. That made you want to be as good as you can be in your craft as well.
Ottis Anderson with us here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie. Lubit's here on IO and Channel. All right. I mean, draft day, we're talking 1979, Otis. You're coming out of the University of Miami. You were obviously, a very, very well-respected player. The running back position at that time was more of a priority, especially in the first round of the draft. It wasn't uncommon to see a lot of running backs taken in the first round. And you're selected 8th overall in the first round of the draft. If you can, Otis, take us back to that experience, because it was a whole different animal then, the draft and all of the hype around it, than it was maybe just a few years later when it was an event that started becoming televised.
Yeah, well, let me just say this first. It's just great to know that somebody other than that can go back to 79 and remember a draft, because I've been talking to so many young kids. They don't remember that. When I start talking about 79, their eyes start going like I wasn't even born.
Yeah.
So it's good to have somebody that I can identify with. So thank you very much for that.
No problem.
Yeah, going back to 79, man, the draft wasn't as highlighted as it is now. And I remember having people at my house waiting for me to be drafted. That's how big we were. We had about the local press at my house, and it was a big thing, living in the projects at the time. So it was a big thing for us. All my neighbors, they didn't know what was going on. Nobody really cared. So to see the way it is now and how they're making it such a production, it's good for the kids. But going through it the way I did, it was quiet. I got selected in the 8th pick in the first round to go to the Cardinals, and you know my life story from that point.
Well, and it's a great one as well. Ottis Anderson with us here on the show. It's kind of interesting. We were talking the other day on the program here with Tony Segreto, who you probably remember as a sportscaster, newscaster here in South Florida for many years. Very reputable and genuinely wholesome individual, and still with us on the program. And before they started televising the draft, I believe that began in like 1983. You would wait for like a Western Union telegraph to find out who the hell the team picked, right? And the coach was, oh, yeah, who's this? Duper? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll take him. It just was a whole different thing. And, the fanfare now is completely different. And obviously the money is different. I mean, what were the negotiations like? Did they have the slotting in place then? Or St. Louis, the organization, how did they treat you in your rookie season?
First of all, you gave too much credit by saying it came by, UPS or something like that. Actually came by pigeon back then when we knew that I was being drafted. So it was not a big thing. And I was just glad that I had a roof that a pigeon liked to land on. I not have got that information to let me know that I was drafted.
Yeah.
But going to St. Louis, it was awakening, because you remember I'm from Florida, born and raised in West Palm Beach, and went down to the U, and now I'm going out to the Midwest country, where I always said that most people out there was corn-fed, because Midwest, Northwest, you think about corn and that kind of product that was out there. So for me to go from Florida, where we are oranges, man, this is how we do, and dealing with the weather and the elements was indeed a surprise to me. But the Cardinal overall, they treated me well, for 7 years. And then after that, they just got rid of me.
Yeah. And, fortunately, you ended in the lap of the New York Giants, which, it was just a tremendous run that you guys had. And how different was it? Now, the fans in St. Louis were very loyal to the Cardinals baseball team. And I want to say they were still loyal at that time to the football team as well, but nothing like the rabid interest that there is in football in New York. So how different was that for you, especially a kid that grew up in Palm Beach, Florida?
Well, yeah, you're so true with that. And just a prime example of how different we were treated. I remember we flew into Chicago to play the Bears, and we was in the elevator with a bunch of fans who were obviously Chicago Bears fans, and they were looking at us and they were going like, "Wow, man, you guys have a great baseball team." And we looked at them and go like, "People this side don't play baseball, we're football players." So we had identity problem all the time being because we were both called Big Red.
Yeah.
And we were both called Cardinals, but unfortunately the baseball program had better success than us, and most people knew the Cardinals as baseball and not football. So Bidwell wanted out of that. He wanted his own identity, and that's part reason why he went out to Arizona.
What was Parcells like to play for?
He was a dictator.
I thought you were going to stop at the first syllable
right
there.
I was like,
Was that by design, Otis?
Well, listen, he knew how to motivate. And
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you one thing. Fear is a great incentive. Anybody can tell you if you fear of something, you react differently. And the fear that he gave all of us all the time, you knew that your job was always in jeopardy. So you always had to play the best way, best of your ability. And that was a great incentive by him. If you look at all the players who produced, I mean, he used to say to me all the time, as I got older, he kept looking at me and go like, I don't think you can do it. During the Super Bowl run in 90, that whole run, when Rodney go down, I come in during the playoff. And after the first playoff game, we win against Chicago. We're going to play the 49ers. And he would say to me, I don't know. I think you're out of gas already. I think I need to get Lewis Tillman ready. I need to get Dave Meggett ready because, you're not as young as you used to be. And I used to get so mad at him because every practice he would come up and just start nagging me about how old I was and how much gas I had in the tank or if I had any left. He said, "You running on regular. We brought you in. You were super. Now you regular. And I just look at him and go like, yeah. When I came in, you were slim too. Look at you now. But that's why he got the name Tuna. He went from, being a small fish to a big fish anyway. Yeah.
We're talking NFL great and Miami Hurricane great, the one and only Ottis Anderson here to talk about diabetes awareness, and we're definitely going to get to that right here, the Defo Show. We started talking about Lawrence Taylor, and not only talent-wise, but there's no greater personality, even to this day, than Lawrence Taylor. But that whole team was full of personality between yourself, Carl Banks. Phil Simms was low-key, but he was a talent. And then your own coach and was the face of the franchise in a day where it sort of, there wasn't the publicity we have nowadays. How was it being on that team with all the Carl Banks, with all that talent, all the personalities, and you all found a way to hone it together and win?
Well, again, that's a testament to Parcells, knowing how to deal with all these different personalities. We know Lawrence was his child. We know that. And, he didn't get mad at his child. Everybody else can do wrong, but his child could never do wrong. And we understood that, you got to know your place. I know your lane. And we knew that, that was the rule for all the other players. And then that's the Lawrence Taylor rule. And his rule and our rule was never the same.
Oh, wow.
And we respected that. And he earned the right to have his own rule. So, but Parcells was good at that. He knew how to motivate each individual because of how our personalities were.
You played high school ball here, and it wasn't discovered until later on. I guess a few years later when Howard Schnellenberger declared the state of Miami situation as far as recruiting, that people said, what is this guy talking about? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of talent down there. And you were also, Ottis Anderson, at the University of Miami at a time where, I guess, under Lou Saban, were they not on the threshold or the precipice of maybe extinction, getting rid of the program? So what was that like? And then how did you feel later on? You were already playing professional ball, but when Howard not only turned the program around, but did it with a lot of Miami and local kids, and then the recruiting blossomed here in the state, and all of a sudden it became a hotbed where, it wasn't uncommon not to see Lou, but Nick Saban hanging around the local high schools.
Well, they give credit to Howard, but Lou Saban brought that team in. My senior year, we brought in Jim Kelly, and Jim Burt was part of the sophomore year. Mark Rick, Mark Rush. We had a lot of guys that were brought in that end up being special for us when Howard took over. But being at Miami during that time, there were some players that had made it in the NFL that you knew about, like Chuck Foreman and Ted Hendricks were the big names that came out of Miami and was doing exceptionally well. But then you look back at my era. Well, when you know you're bad when every away game you're that team homecoming. So it's sad to say, but we were everyone's home. We could be the second game of the year and we going out to Tulane or somewhere and they got homecoming. I'm going like, please. I mean, but we were 2-8 first year, 2-8 the second year. We were 3-7, and then my last year we were 6-5, and that was the year that turned everything around. But that first year, and also being in the Orange Bowl playing, that Orange Bowl held about 70-some thousand people.
Yeah,
we had about 7,000 people. Yeah, it was horrible, and they try to spread them all out so that we look like we're a big team.
Yeah,
But when you play like the University of Oklahoma, my freshman year, Oklahoma brought in, and this is true, 20 buses of people. They whole side of where their fan base was clearly outnumbered our side. So if we only had 5,000 to 6,000, imagine Oklahoma having over that many people that followed that program at the time. So yes, we were pretty bad back then, but boy, then we turned around in the 80s though.
Yeah, no, a fantastic run there. I was happy to be a part of it, covering the team. I moved here in 1981. And it started out, first assignment was to run down there and get an interview with Howard Schnellenberger. And I couldn't have been more chimed off my feet, than meeting Howard. And then a couple of years later, he delivers on a national championship. And the rest of that historic run was just absolutely fantastic. All right. You go to the doctor and they look at you and they give you that weird look and they go, well, you know what? You're borderline diabetic. And you start thinking about all the implications that go along with that because you tend to overlook it, unless you really do like a little bit of research or, just some reading on it. And then you realize, it can lead to just horrible and hideous problems health-wise. You are working, Ottis Anderson, to promote diabetes awareness. So tell us about what you're doing and how important of an issue this really is.
Well, it is a big issue. And like you said earlier, it's the signs that people don't look at. And one of the biggest signs is go to the doctor. That's the best thing I can tell you to do. People are afraid to go to the doctor. Yeah. And if you don't go to the doctor, you'll never know what's going on with you. It may not be diabetes. It could be something else. But we don't like to go to the doctor. Men in general, you guys know. That's the last thing we want to do is go to the doctors. That's why women find out so much more than us because they go to doctors all the time. Yeah. We stubborn, we proud. We one of those guys. We macho. We don't get sick. We can't have anything wrong. And that's kind of attitude I had when I was pre-diagnosed with diabetes. I'm like, I don't have it. It's I don't have it. Yeah. But later on, the symptoms showed up, and some of the signs that I had was, skin never could use enough lotion. And down in South Florida, you better have some lotion on that ashy body. Okay, you can't go outside looking like that. Exactly. And no matter how much I tried to clear that problem up, it always seemed to exist. And then bruising was the other things. And again, those are just my signs. There could be other signs that other people could have, but if you don't go to the doctor, then you won't know. But you got to have that conversation. You got to attack that individual, or you got to attack that elephant in the room. I keep saying I like using that elephant in the room because that draws everybody's attention when you say that. Yeah. You need to have that conversation, and men don't like to have it, and people in general don't like to have it. But diabetes is not a killer. I mean, it's not a death situation for you, but if you do what you need to do, you can live with it. I'm a prime example. I was 245 pounds. Wow. When I got out of football, I got up to 280, 290, 300 pounds. And I was full-fledged and blown with my weight and just all kind of situations was going on with me and diabetes at that time. But I went back to my playing days, my roots, when you go back and have that conversation with your trainers and your coaches. So I kind of approached it that way. I went back and had that kind of meeting with my doctor, and he became my coach. And we worked out a program together to help me fight my diabetes and also lose weight. And I'm 200 and and 60, 65, 70 pounds right now. I look good. I look real good.
Yeah, definitely.
You look great,
And
man.
I'm
Movie
just so
star.
happy. I'm so happy that I was able to partner with Novo Nordisk and to get the word out to millions of people about living with diabetes. You can do it, but you just got to change the way you think about diabetes, the way you eat. But most importantly, you got to have the conversation with your doctor. You got to find out.
Excellent stuff. Otis, a pleasure. We'll
Thanks,
have to do
Otis.
this again sometime
great.
soon.
Yeah.
It was great having you on the show. Terrific stuff. And thanks for helping us out because it is a very serious thing.
Yes.
As you can deal with this and especially take care of it and manage it if you go ahead and get some direct ansers. So get tested for it, and make sure you get frequent examinations, or at least once or twice a year.
Yep.
Go see a doctor and find out where you stand with all of this. There's nothing like having the truth, the facts right in front of you. And that's why you can't deceive yourself, and you do all the right things. Oh, it's a pleasure, man. A lot of fun having you on the show. Thanks so much,
Thank you.
so much for joining us here.
You also can go to cornerstoneforcare.com.
Okay.
You can get a lot of information about how to deal with diabetes and living with diabetes. That's one of Novo Nordisk's avenues that you can go and learn a whole lot about. So that's cornerstoneforcare.com, and you can get a lot of information about that. And you know what? Diabetes don't take a day off, so why do we?
Excellent stuff. Otis, thanks so much for being with us. It was a pleasure.
You got it. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Otis.
Otis
Really
Anderson, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Defo Show. I'll tell you where it also was a pleasure. That's walking into Hialeah Park, Lubie. And it's getting closer. We're about a week away from my big doubleheader, the Derby, in the Champion Simulcasting Room.
Sir.
And ladies and gentlemen, Revolta, Margulies, and the Cubans Promotions present. Frankie's going to be in his glory then.
Oh,
Frank
my
Dior.
God. Are you kidding me? He's going to be a madman.
You know how he is. He's
mad
a detail
scientist.
man. What do you mean? What do you mean there's no place to park? I mean, he's goes and takes care of every detail. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, man. Being ringside there was just absolutely fantastic. Great night of boxing on tap here at Hialeah Park. That's May 7th, so check that out. HialeahPark.com is where you can get tickets. I imagine you can go to the box office and then make it a doubleheader of sorts. Buy your tickets for the boxing match. Now you know you're coming back and play in the casino. Take advantage of all the tremendous entitlements and amenities they're giving you with generous allotments of free play. All you have to do is sign up for a player's card. If you have a player's card, you know what that's all about. Great food and drink all over the place. Poker tables are always hopping, and just inundated with a lot of great action. And then beyond that, you have, as I said, the Champion Simulcasting Room. Great. I mean, you have all the great racetracks going right now. Last week or so of Keeneland on tap. Just going to be a sensational amount of fun at Hialeah Park. Circle it on your calendar and come out. I'll be there. Lubie, I hope you come out too.
I am.
May the 7th for the Derby and the boxing, or at least one of those two things, Lubie, because it's going to be spectacular at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, thanks to Ottis Anderson for joining us.
Great,
special edition of the Defo Show. From Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest, and we will see you next time right here on Ion Channel.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home. Again, a huge thank you to Ottis Anderson talking to us today about diabetes awareness. He's not wrong. As men, we don't run. I haven't been to the doctor in a while. Look, knock on wood, I feel fine. But that's the thing is, you got to get ahead of things. Everyone's scared. Well, the hospital's where the bad things happen. No. What happens is we go to the doctor late, so then the hospital is a bad place. If you take care of yourself and get regular checkups, then you won't have to go to the hospital. Or whenever you go, it's just for maintenance, like a car. I know we're people. We're not cars. But again, you try and keep your car up to date so you don't have to be reactionary. Same thing with us. And diabetes is not a killer. It's not a death sentence. as long as you take care of yourself and go to the doctor. So definitely get yourself checked out. Thank you, Ottis Anderson. It was really cool hearing about his Canes days, the Canes then, and some of the things he's looking forward to for the Canes going forward. Talk about his days with the New York Giants as well. A guy, South Florida, born and raised. How was growing up then to what we've seen now when it comes to recruiting. Really enjoyed the conversation there with NFL great and Miami Hurricane great, Ottis Anderson. Check us out each and every day in the mornings. Just Google The Defo Show, 7 to 9 a.m. Google The Defo Show, DEFO, or check out our exclusive content podcast, After Hours with Defo and Lubie. Just go to Believe.com, search After Hours. And, of course, every day our South Florida skewed content right here, The Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.